The massive space station hung in the void like a crystal flower, its 7 arms reaching out into the darkness. Each arm belonged to one of the great alien races that ruled the galaxy. Captain Jake Morrison stared at the station through the viewing port of his ship, the Horizon's Edge. He had been to many strange places in his 20 years of space travel, but this place still made him nervous. "Sir, we're getting the docking signal," said Lieutenant Amy Brooks from her station. Her voice was steady, but Jake could hear the worry underneath. They all knew why they were here. The Galactic Council had called for an emergency meeting. That was never good news for humanity. Jake straightened his blue uniform and checked his appearance one last time. As Earth's lead diplomat, he had to look perfect. The aliens judged humans harshly for every small mistake. "Take us in, Amy. Nice and slow." The Horizon's Edge moved toward the docking bay. Jake watched the alien ships around them, huge Zephyrian, vessels that looked like silver whales. Sharp Vorthak ships made of living crystal, ships from 5 other races, all much older and more advanced than humanity. They had been traveling between stars when humans were still living in caves. "Docking. Complete, sir," Amy reported. "The council is waiting for you." Jake nodded and headed for the airlock. His assistant, Dr. Carl Murphy, was waiting with a data pad full of notes. Carl was a smart man who spoke 6 alien languages. If anyone could help Jake navigate this meeting, it was him. "Any word from Earth about what this is about?" Jake asked as they walked. Carl shook his head. "Admiral Lisa Carter sent a message this morning. She said to be ready for anything. The aliens have been very quiet lately. No trade requests, no diplomatic visits. Something has them spooked." They walked through the station's corridors. The walls were made of a material that seemed to shift colors as they moved. Alien writing covered every surface, glowing softly in languages Jake couldn't read. They passed groups of aliens from different species, all heading in the same direction. The council chamber was enormous, a circular room with 7 raised platforms, one for each ruling species. In the center was a small area where visitors could stand. Jake had been here before, but the size of it still impressed him. The ceiling was so high he couldn't see the top in the dim light. Jake took his place in the center. Around him, the 7 platforms held the most powerful beings in the galaxy. The Zephyrian representative was tall and thin, with skin that looked like liquid metal. The Vorthak delegate was a cluster of floating crystals that hummed with energy. The others were equally strange and impressive. High Counselor Vextai of the Zephyrians spoke first. His voice came through Jake's translator as a cold, formal tone. "Captain Morrison, you stand before this council to hear our judgment on your species." Jake felt his stomach drop. Judgment? This wasn't supposed to be a trial. "Honored Counselor, I thought this was a diplomatic meeting." "It is," said the Vorthak representative, her crystal form flashing red. "We are meeting to tell you our decision. Humanity's probationary membership in the Galactic Council is hereby terminated." The words hit Jake like a physical blow. 3 years ago, humanity had been invited to join the galactic community. It was the greatest day in human history. Now they were being kicked out? "I don't understand," Jake said. "What have we done wrong? Our colonies have followed all regulations. Our traders have been honest. Our military has stayed within the boundaries you set." The Altarian representative, a being that looked like a walking tree, spoke in a voice like rustling leaves. "That is exactly the problem, human. You follow rules, but you do not understand them. You are too aggressive, too quick to act, too dangerous for civilized space." "We've never attacked anyone," Jake protested. "We've been peaceful." "Peace?" The Nexalian delegate's voice was like music, but cold music. You call it peace when your species builds warships while claiming to explore? You call it peace when you train soldiers while speaking of science? Your species thinks of war even when you try to think of peace. High Counselor Vextai raised a hand for silence. The decision is made. All human colonies beyond your home system must be abandoned within 1 standard year. All human vessels must return to Earth space. You will have no further contact with any member of galactic civilization. Jake's mind raced. But our people on the colonies, the research stations, the trade agreements, all terminated, said the Vorthak representative. Your species will return to your home system and remain there. This is not negotiable. For how long? Jake asked desperately. Surely we can prove ourselves in time. We can change, learn to be better. The council members looked at each other. Finally, High Counselor Vextai spoke again. Captain Morrison, understand this clearly. Your species is banned from galactic space permanently. You will never be readmitted to the council. You will never again be welcome among civilized races. Jake felt the room spinning around him. This was worse than anything Earth had prepared for. But why? What did we do that was so terrible? The Zephyrian's metallic face showed no emotion. You exist, Captain. That is enough. Your species carries the seeds of chaos wherever you go. Better to contain that chaos now than let it spread. We are not without mercy, added the tree-like Altarian. We give you 1 year to evacuate your colonies. Use it wisely. And remember this, human. This is the only warning you will receive. Any attempt to leave your system after the deadline will be met with force. The Vorthak's crystals flashed bright red. The council has spoken. This session is ended. Jake stood there for a moment, trying to process what had just happened. Humanity had been cast out of the galaxy. All their dreams of exploring the stars, of joining the great community of civilized species, were over. Sir? Carl touched his arm gently. We should go. Jake nodded numbly and followed Carl out of the chamber. The walk back to their ship felt like a dream. Other aliens in the corridors avoided looking at them. Word was already spreading that humanity had been judged and found wanting. Back on the horizon's edge, Jake sat in his captain's chair and stared at the communication panel. He had to send a message to Earth. He had to tell Admiral Carter and the rest of humanity that their place among the stars was gone. Amy, open a channel to Earth, he said quietly. Channel open, sir. Jake took a deep breath. Admiral Carter, this is Captain Morrison. I'm afraid I have terrible news. The Council has voted to expel humanity from galactic civilization. We have 1 year to evacuate all colonies beyond Sol System. After that, we're on our own. He closed the channel and sat back in his chair. Outside the viewing port, the alien ships continued their business as if nothing had happened. For them, the removal of one small, troublesome species was just another day. But for humanity, everything had just changed forever. Admiral Lisa Carter stood in the command center on Luna Base, watching the largest evacuation in human history unfold on dozens of screens around her. 6 months had passed since Captain Morrison brought the terrible news from the Galactic Council. Now, with only 6 months left before the deadline, humanity was racing to bring everyone home. Admiral, the last transport from New Terra is loaded and ready to depart, reported Colonel Ryan Burke. The big man looked tired. He had been coordinating evacuations for months without a break. That's another 40,000 people heading. Back to Sol System. Lisa nodded and marked another colony off her list. New Terra had been one of humanity's proudest achievements, a garden world where families had built new lives under alien suns. Now it was empty except for the wildlife that had been there before humans arrived. "How many colonies left?" she asked. "3, ma'am. New Boston, Highland Station, and Far Reach. We should have everyone out with 2 weeks to spare." On one of the screens, Dr. Amanda Foster was giving her final report from Highland Station. Amanda was a xenobiologist who had spent years studying alien life forms. Her work had helped humanity understand how life developed on different worlds. "The native species here show signs of early intelligence," Amanda was saying to the camera. "In a few thousand years, they might develop tools. It breaks my heart to leave without knowing what they'll become." Her voice was steady, but Lisa could see the pain in her eyes. Lisa switched to another screen showing Captain Nick Torres on the bridge of his cargo ship, the Iron Will. Nick was one of the best transport captains in the fleet. He had been working non-stop to move people and equipment back to Earth space. "Nick, what's your status?" Lisa asked through the communication system. "Just finished loading the last of the research equipment from New Boston, Admiral," Nick replied. "Should be heading home in 6 hours, but Admiral, there's something strange happening out here." "What do you mean?" Nick's face looked worried on the screen. "We're picking up new signals at the edge of the system. Looks like monitoring stations. They weren't here when we arrived 3 days ago." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. "Are you sure they're alien?" "Definitely not human technology. And Admiral, this is the 3rd system where we've seen this. Someone is setting up to watch these planets after we leave." Colonel Burke stepped closer to Lisa's station. "Ma'am, I've been getting similar reports from other evacuation sites. It's like they're making sure we really leave." "Or making sure we don't come back," Lisa said quietly. She opened a channel to Commander Helen Brooks in the communication center. "Helen, are you still getting jamming on our deep space channels?" Helen's voice came through clearly. "Yes, ma'am. Any transmission beyond the outer planets gets blocked. It's like there's a wall around Sol's system that we can't broadcast through." Lisa stared at the evacuation reports on her screen. Millions of humans leaving their homes, forced to abandon everything they had built. And now it seemed the aliens weren't just kicking them out. They were making sure humanity stayed locked in their home system forever. "Admiral," Dr. Foster's voice came through from Highland Station. "I need to report something. We found some equipment left behind by the previous alien survey team. It's still active." "What kind of equipment?" "Sensors, communication gear, some kind of analysis computers. They're all focused on studying the planet, but they're also broadcasting something toward the galactic core. I can't decode the signals, but they seem to be sending information about everything that happens here." Lisa closed her eyes and rubbed her temples. A headache was building behind her eyes. The evacuation was hard enough without mysterious alien equipment watching everything they did. Captain Torres appeared on another screen. "Admiral, we've got a problem at New Boston. The evacuation is complete, but there are definitely alien ships at the edge of the system now. 3 of them, just sitting there. Are they threatening you?" "No, ma'am. They're not responding to our communications at all. They're just watching. It's creepy as hell, if you don't mind me saying." Lisa did mind him saying it, but she understood how he felt. The whole evacuation was turning into a nightmare. Humanity wasn't just being expelled from the galaxy, they were being herded like animals back to their pen. On her personal screen, a message appeared from President Alex Turner on Earth. His face looked older than it had 6 months ago. The stress of the evacuation was wearing on all of them. "Lisa, I need an update on the timeline, the president said. The public is getting restless. They want to know when their families will be home. 2 more weeks, sir, Lisa replied. But, Mr. President, we have a new problem. The aliens are setting up monitoring stations around our former colonies. They're watching everything we do. President Turner's face went pale. What does that mean for us? I'm not sure yet, sir. But it doesn't feel like they're just making sure we leave. It feels like they're preparing for something else. Dr. Foster's voice interrupted their conversation. Admiral, you need to see this. The alien equipment we found is definitely tracking our evacuation. Every time one of our ships leaves the system, it sends a signal. And Admiral, there's something else. The equipment seems to be scanning our ships for something specific. Scanning for what? I don't know. But whatever it is, it seems important to them. The signals get stronger when our military vessels pass by. Lisa felt her headache getting worse. Nothing about this evacuation made sense. Why did the aliens care so much about tracking human movements? Why were they watching empty planets after? Humanity left? Captain Torres's voice came through again. Admiral? The alien ships are moving. They're heading toward the planet. Wait, they're settling into orbit. It's like they're taking over as soon as we leave. Nick, get your people out of there now, Lisa ordered. Don't wait for the scheduled departure. Leave immediately. Yes, ma'am. Iron Will is breaking orbit now. Lisa watched the evacuation screens and felt a growing sense of dread. Humanity wasn't just being expelled from the galaxy. They were being isolated, cut off, and watched. The question was why. Colonel Burke appeared at her shoulder. Admiral, I've been thinking about this monitoring situation. What if they're not just making sure we leave? What if they're making sure something else can't find us? Lisa looked at him sharply. What do you mean? Think about it, ma'am. They kick us out, but they also set up a wall of jamming around our system. They watch our old colonies, but they don't occupy them until we're gone. It's like they're trying to hide any trace that we were ever there. The idea sent a chill through Lisa's whole body. What could be so dangerous that the mighty Galactic Council would go to such lengths to hide humanity's existence? On the main screen, the last transport from Highland Station lifted off into space. Dr. Foster would be on that ship, leaving behind years of research and discovery. Another piece of humanity's dream of exploring the galaxy was gone. All ships, this is Admiral Carter, Lisa announced on the Fleet Communication Channel. Excellent work, everyone. You're bringing our people home safely. Just remember, we're not just evacuating, we're preserving humanity for whatever comes next. She closed the channel and stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there, alien races that had existed for millions of years had decided that humanity was too dangerous to remain in galactic civilization. But their actions suggested they were also trying to protect humanity from something even more dangerous. The evacuation would be complete soon. Then humanity would have to face whatever came next alone, locked in their home system, surrounded by silence and watching eyes. 2 years had passed since the last human ship returned to Sol system. The evacuation was complete, the colonies abandoned, and humanity was alone among the stars. President Alex Turner stood in his office in New Washington, looking out at the city below. People were trying to rebuild their lives, but everyone felt the weight of their isolation. Mr. President? General Kate Sullivan knocked on his door and entered. Kate was his military advisor, a tough woman who had served in 3 wars before the aliens ever made contact with Earth. We have the monthly reports from all departments. Do you want the good news or the bad news first? Alex turned from the window and sat at his desk. "Give me the bad news. I need to stay realistic." Kate opened her tablet and read from her notes. Morale is still dropping. People feel trapped. The unemployment rate is up because we lost all the jobs related to galactic trade. And we're still getting no communications from outside the system. The jamming is as strong as ever. And the good news? We're becoming more self-sufficient. Food production is up 20%. Our technology development has accelerated because our scientists have nothing else to work on. And surprisingly, crime rates are down. It seems like having a common enemy helps people work together. Alex nodded. It was better than he had expected, but not as good as he had hoped. "Any word from our deep space monitoring stations?" "That's where things get interesting, sir. Dr. Sam Peterson has been tracking some unusual energy signatures beyond the outer planets. Very large ships moving through what used to be the main trade routes. But they're not responding to any communications." Dr. Sam Peterson was one of Earth's best astrophysicists. He had been studying alien technology since first contact and had set up monitoring stations throughout Sol system to watch for any signs of galactic activity. "Ships going where?" Alex asked. "That's the strange part. They seem to be moving toward the galactic core, but they're taking routes that avoid all the major alien civilizations. It's like they're trying not to be seen." Alex felt a familiar chill. Ever since the evacuation, strange things had been happening just outside human space. Ships that didn't respond to communications, energy signatures that didn't match any known, alien technology. And always, the feeling that humanity was being watched. "Sir," Kate continued, "there's something else. Engineer Maya Collins has been studying the alien equipment that was left behind on our former colonies. The stuff that Dr. Foster found during the evacuation." Maya Collins was a brilliant engineer who specialized in reverse engineering alien technology. She had been one of the few people allowed to study the monitoring equipment that the aliens had abandoned. What did she find? The equipment is still active, and it's not just monitoring the planets. It's monitoring space around Sol system. Maya thinks it's part of a larger network that's watching for something specific. Alex stood up and walked back to the window. Outside, children were playing in the park. They were the first generation to grow up, knowing that humanity was alone in the galaxy. He wondered what kind of future they would have. "General, I want you to set up a meeting with Dr. Peterson and Engineer Collins. I need to understand what's happening out there." "Yes, sir. There's one more thing. Commander Helen Brooks has been analyzing the communication jamming around our system. She thinks it might not be meant to keep us in." "What do you mean?" "She thinks it might be meant to keep something else out, to hide us from whatever is moving through those trade routes." 3 days later, Alex sat in the secure briefing room deep under the government complex. Around the table were the smartest people humanity had left. Dr. Peterson with his data on space movements, Maya Collins with her analysis of alien technology, Commander Brooks with her communication reports, and General Sullivan with her military perspective. Dr. Peterson spoke first. "Mr. President, what we're seeing in deep space doesn't match any known alien behavior. These ships are huge, much larger than anything we've encountered before, and they're moving in coordinated groups toward the most populated areas of the galaxy." Maya leaned forward and activated a holographic display. The monitoring equipment left behind by the aliens is definitely part of a warning system. It's designed to detect specific types of energy signatures and broadcast alerts to a central location. But here's the weird part. It's not looking for human technology. "What is it looking for?" Alex asked. "Something much more advanced. The energy patterns it's designed to detect are beyond anything humans or any of the Galactic Council species have ever produced." Commander Brooks added her information. The jamming around our system is definitely artificial, but it's not random. It's designed to block specific frequencies that match the energy signatures Maya's equipment is looking for. Someone is trying very hard to make sure we can't be detected by whatever those ships are. General Sullivan put down her tablet and looked directly at Alex. Sir, I think we're looking at this wrong. The Galactic Council didn't kick us out because they thought we were dangerous to them. They kicked us out because something dangerous, to all of us, was coming, and they were trying to hide us. Alex felt the room go quiet. It was the theory they had all been thinking, but nobody wanted to say out loud. Dr. Peterson pulled up another display. If the General is right, then what we're seeing is the beginning of something catastrophic. These ships have been moving through the galaxy for months now, and everywhere they go, the alien communication networks go silent afterward. Silent how? Alex asked. Completely silent. Systems that have been broadcasting for thousands of years. Just stop. It's like entire civilizations are being turned off. Maya's face went pale. If that's true, then the monitoring equipment makes perfect sense. The aliens set up an early warning system and tried to hide as many species as possible. We might not be the only ones who got expelled from the galaxy. Commander Brooks checked her reports. Actually, that explains something that's been bothering me. For the past 6 months, we've been detecting what look like refugee ships at the very edge of our sensor range. Small groups moving away from the galactic core and trying to hide in empty space. Alex stood up and walked around the table. Everything was starting to make a terrible kind of sense. Humanity hadn't been judged and found unworthy. They had been judged and found worth saving. General, I want you to quietly begin preparations for a possible threat to Sol System. Nothing that would cause panic, but we need to be ready. What kind of threat, sir? The kind that can make entire civilizations go silent. Dr. Peterson looked up from his data pad. Mr. President, there's something else. The energy signatures we're tracking, they're getting stronger, and they're getting closer. Whatever these ships are, they're moving in our direction. Alex felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. How long do we have? Based on their current speed and trajectory, they'll reach the outer edge of Sol System in approximately 18 months. The room fell silent. 18 months to prepare for something that had apparently destroyed civilizations that were millions of years more advanced than humanity. All right, Alex said finally. We know what we're facing. The aliens expelled us to save us from something they couldn't defeat themselves. Now we have to figure out how to survive what's coming. General Sullivan stood up. Sir, if we're right about this, then we have one advantage the other species didn't have. What's that? We know it's coming. The others were caught by surprise. We have time to prepare. Alex nodded. Time to prepare for the unknown. Time to figure out how humanity could survive when entire galactic civilizations had failed. Time to discover if being cast out of the galaxy would turn out to be the thing that saved them. Outside, the children were still playing in the park, unaware that their future depended on the next 18 months of preparation. Dr. Ben Parker stared at the data scrolling across his screen in the Deep Space Observatory on Titan. What he was seeing should have been impossible, but the numbers didn't lie. Entire star systems that had been shining brightly just months ago were now dark and cold. Computer, show me the galactic map from 6 months ago, he said. The holographic display showed the galaxy as it had been. Thousands of bright points of light representing advanced civilizations, trade routes glowing, like highways between the stars and the steady pulse of interstellar communications that had hummed across space for millennia. Now show me today's data. The display changed, and Ben felt his heart sink. Nearly a third of the lights were gone. Entire sectors of the galaxy had gone dark, as if someone had blown out candles one by one. Dr. Parker, his assistant, Linda, Gray looked over his shoulder at the display. Are we sure this data is correct? I've checked it 12 times. We're looking at the systematic destruction of galactic civilization. Ben opened a communication channel to Luna Base. Admiral Carter, this is Ben Parker at Titan Observatory. I need to speak with you immediately. Admiral Carter's face appeared on his screen within minutes. She looked tired, but alert. What do you have for me, Ben? Admiral, I've been tracking the energy signatures that Dr. Peterson reported. The situation is much worse than we thought. We're not just looking at some ships moving through space. We're looking at the end of galactic civilization as we know it. He shared his display with her, showing the before and after images of the galaxy. Admiral Carter's face went pale as she saw the dark zones spreading like a disease through space. How many civilizations are we talking about? She asked quietly. Hundreds, maybe thousands. The Zephyrian Empire, the Vorthak Collective, the Altarian Federation, all the major powers that expelled us from the Council. They're all going dark one by one. Captain Lucy Wade's voice came through from the bridge of her stealth reconnaissance ship, the Silent Runner. Lucy was one of humanity's best pilots, and she had been running secret missions to the edge of Sol system to gather intelligence. Admiral, Captain Wade here. I can confirm Dr. Parker's data. I just returned from the Proxima sector where the Nexalian colonies used to be. There's nothing left but dead planets and debris fields. Admiral Carter leaned forward. Define nothing left, Captain. I mean, everything is gone, ma'am. The orbital stations, the surface cities, even the orbital. Elevators have been stripped down to basic materials. It's like something harvested every piece of technology and took it away. Ben felt a chill run through him. Captain Wade, did you detect any life signs at all? Negative, Doctor. No life signs, no power signatures, no communications. But there were these strange energy readings in the debris fields, like something had been feeding on the technology itself. Intelligence Director Tony Reed appeared on the communication channel from his office on Earth. Tony was a former military officer who now ran humanity's intelligence services. If anyone could make sense of what they were seeing, it was him. Admiral, I've been analyzing the fragmentary alien communications we intercepted before the jamming got stronger. I think I know what we're dealing with. Tell me, Admiral Carter said. Tony activated his own display. The aliens call them devourers. According to the intercepts, they're not a natural species. They're some kind of biomechanical entities that consume technological civilizations and convert everything into more of themselves. Like a virus? Ben asked. Exactly like a virus, but one that feeds on technology instead of biology. The alien record suggests that the Devourers appeared before, millions of years ago. The galactic civilizations thought they had destroyed them, but apparently they were wrong. Captain Wade's voice crackled through the communication system. That would explain what I saw in the Proxima sector. Every piece of technology was gone, but the basic planetary materials were left behind. They took only what they could use. Commander Steve Martinez joined the conversation from the Military Intelligence Center. Steve was a specialist in alien technology and had been studying captured equipment since the evacuation. Admiral, this matches with some data I found in the alien monitoring equipment. There are references to something called the Great Silence that happened about 3 million years ago. Apparently, an advanced civilization called the Harvesters or Devourers swept through the galaxy and consumed everything technological. How did the current civilization survive? Admiral Carter asked. They didn't, Steve replied. According to the records, the current galactic civilizations are all descendants of primitive species that survived because they hadn't developed advanced technology yet. They rebuilt over millions of years, thinking the threat was gone forever. Ben looked at his galactic display again, watching the pattern of dark zones spreading through space. So the Devourers weren't destroyed. They were just dormant, waiting for civilization to rebuild. That's exactly right, Tony said. And now they're awake and feeding again. Admiral Carter was quiet for a long moment. So when the Galactic Council expelled us, they weren't just being prejudiced. They were trying to save us. I think so, ma'am, Steve replied. They must have detected the early signs of Devourer activity and realized that advanced civilizations were going to be targeted first. By kicking us out and jamming our communications, they were trying to hide us from the sensors that track technological development. Captain Wade's voice came through again. Admiral, there's something else. During my reconnaissance mission, I detected massive ships moving through the dead systems. They're bigger than anything we've ever seen. Some of them are the size of small moons. Ben pulled up his deep space sensor data. I've been tracking those ships too. They move in coordinated fleets, and they're definitely heading toward the more populated areas of the galaxy. The pattern suggests they're following the old trade routes, hitting the most advanced civilizations first. How long before they reach the core worlds? Admiral Carter asked. Tony checked his intelligence reports. Based on the current rate of expansion, the Devourer fleets will reach the galactic core within 6 months. That's where the oldest and most advanced civilizations are located. Including the Galactic Council? Yes, ma'am. Nexus Prime is located right in their path. The communication channel fell silent as everyone absorbed the implications. The mighty, alien civilizations that had ruled the galaxy for millions of years were facing extinction. The same beings who had judged humanity too dangerous for galactic society were now being hunted by something far more dangerous than humans had ever been. Admiral Carter finally spoke. So we're looking at the complete collapse of galactic civilization. The question is, what happens when the Devourers finish with the advanced species and start looking for any remaining technology? Ben felt his stomach turn. They'll eventually find us. Our technology might be primitive compared to the aliens, but it's still technology. And if they're designed to consume and convert technological civilizations, then Sol System will eventually be on their menu, Steve finished. Captain Wade's voice came through with new urgency. Admiral, I'm picking up something on long-range sensors. It looks like a ship approaching the outer edge of Sol System, small, damaged, broadcasting on old Galactic Council frequencies. A refugee? Admiral Carter asked. That's what it looks like, ma'am. And Admiral, if it made it this far, it might have information about what happened to the other civilizations. Admiral Carter made her decision quickly. Captain Wade, intercept that ship and bring it to Luna Base. If we're going to survive what's coming, we need to understand exactly what we're facing. Ben looked back at his display showing the dying galaxy. Somewhere out there, the Devourers were converting entire civilizations into more of themselves. And humanity, hidden in their small corner of space, might be one of the last technological species left alive. The aliens had cast them out to save them. Now it was up to humanity to figure out how to survive what had destroyed civilizations millions of years more advanced than they were. The alien refugee ship was unlike anything humanity had ever seen up close. Captain Lucy Wade guided her stealth ship Silent Runner alongside the damaged vessel as it limped toward Luna Base. The ship's hull was covered in strange markings that seemed to shift and move in the light. "Admiral Carter, this is Captain Wade," Lucy reported over the communication channel. "The refugee ship is badly damaged, but I'm reading one life sign aboard. It's weak but stable." "Bring it into Bay 7, Admiral Carter replied from the Luna Base Command Center. "We'll have a full medical and technical team waiting." Dr. Rachel Stone stood in the docking bay with her xenobiology team. Rachel had studied alien life forms for years, but she had never actually treated an injured alien before. Next to her, Engineer Maya Collins waited with her technical analysis equipment. "Remember," Rachel told her team, "we don't know what atmosphere this being breathes or what might be toxic to them. Full environmental suits until we know more." The refugee ship settled onto the docking bay floor with a grinding sound that suggested major structural damage. Maya immediately began scanning the hull with her equipment. "The ship's technology is definitely Galactic Council standard," Maya reported. "But it's been modified with some kind of shielding I've never seen before. Whatever hit this ship, the pilot was trying to hide from it." The airlock on the alien ship opened with a hiss, and a figure stumbled out. It was a Vorthak, one of the crystalline beings from the Galactic Council. But this Vorthak was different. Its crystal structure was cracked and dimmed, and several pieces of its body were missing entirely. "Medical team, move in," Dr. Stone ordered. "Carefully." As they approached the injured alien, it looked up at them with what might have been surprise. When it spoke, the words came through their universal translators in a voice filled with pain and exhaustion. "Humans, but you were sent away. Hidden. How are you here?" Dr. Stone knelt beside the alien. "We're here because this is our home system. I'm Dr. Rachel Stone. We're going to help you." The Vorthak's crystals flickered weakly. "I am Shard Singer Veltar of the Vorthak Collective. I bring terrible news. The Devourers have returned. The galaxy is dying." Admiral Carter's voice came through their communication devices. "Shard Singer Veltar, this is Admiral Lisa Carter of Earth Defense Command. We've been monitoring the situation from our deep space sensors. We know about the dark zone spreading through the galaxy." "Then you know we failed," Veltar said. "The Council, the great civilizations, the mighty fleets, all consumed. The Devourers are stronger than they were 3 million years ago. They learned from our ancestors' attempts to destroy them." Captain Josh Williams joined the group in the docking bay. Josh had been monitoring alien communications since the evacuation and had become an expert on Galactic Council technology. "Shard Singer, how did you escape?" Josh asked. "Our intelligence suggested that the Devourers were targeting all technological civilizations." Veltar's crystalline form pulsed with dim light. "I was part of a research team studying the ancient Devourer artifacts on a dead world in the Outer Rim. When the attacks began, we realized the truth. The Devourers were never truly destroyed. They were dormant, waiting." Maya Collins looked up from her scans of the refugee ship. "The modifications to your ship, were they designed to hide you from the Devourers?" "Yes. We discovered that the Devourers track civilizations by their technological signatures. The more advanced the technology, the easier they are to find. My research team modified our ship to emit false readings, to appear as natural space phenomena instead of artificial constructs." Dr. Stone finished her medical scan of the alien. "Your injuries are severe but not life-threatening by human standards. However, I don't know enough about Vorthak physiology to be certain. What kind of medical care do you need?" Crystal regeneration compounds, Veltar replied. But those were lost with my homeworld. I will survive without them, though I will be diminished. Admiral Carter appeared in the docking bay, accompanied by General Kate Sullivan and Intelligence Director Tony Reed. Shardsinger Veltar, we need to understand what we're facing. Can you tell us about the Devourer's capabilities? Veltar's crystals flickered as the alien struggled to sit upright. They are not alive as you understand life. They are biomechanical constructs created by an ancient civilization that sought to achieve immortality by converting all matter into extensions of themselves. Like a hive mind? General Sullivan asked. Worse than a hive mind. Each devourer unit can operate independently, but they all share a common purpose: to consume all technology and convert it into more devourers. They grow stronger with each civilization they consume. Tony Reed activated his datapad and began recording. How do they consume civilizations? Do they attack with conventional weapons? No, Veltar replied. They begin by sending infiltrator units, small constructs that appear to be debris or natural phenomena. These units study the target civilization's technology and relay information back to the main fleet. Then the Devourers arrive in force and begin the conversion process. Captain Williams felt a chill. Conversion process? They don't simply destroy technology. They absorb it, analyze it, and incorporate it into their own systems. Every weapon we use against them makes them stronger. Every ship they capture becomes part of their fleet. Every defensive system they encounter teaches them how to build better offensive systems. Maya looked at her scans of the alien ship with new understanding. That's why your ship is so heavily modified. You weren't just hiding, you were making sure that if they found you, there wouldn't be any useful technology for them to absorb. Correct. But it was not enough. The Devourers found our research station anyway. They converted my colleagues. I watched friends I had known for centuries become part of the enemy fleet. Dr. Stone placed a gentle hand on Veltar's crystalline shoulder. How did you escape? The research station was destroyed, but not before we discovered something important. The Devourers are not invincible. They have a weakness. Admiral Carter leaned forward. What kind of weakness? They cannot efficiently convert primitive technology. Their systems are designed to absorb and improve upon advanced technological constructs. But simple, crude technology is difficult for them to process and provides little benefit. General W. Sullivan frowned. Are you saying that less advanced civilizations have a better chance of survival? Not just a better chance. They may be the only ones who can survive. The Devourers eliminate advanced civilizations quickly because they represent the greatest threat and the greatest reward. But primitive civilizations are often ignored or consumed last. Captain Williams understood the implications immediately. That's why the Galactic Council expelled us. They weren't just trying to hide us. They were trying to make us less attractive as targets. Your species was young, aggressive, and rapidly developing. The Council feared you would advance too, quickly and attract devourer attention. By forcing you to return to your home system and cutting off access to advanced alien technology, they hoped to slow your development and keep you hidden. Admiral Carter felt pieces of the puzzle falling into place. But we've continued to develop on our own. Are we still primitive enough to avoid detection? Veltar's crystals pulsed uncertainly. I do not know. Human technology is more advanced than it was 3 years ago, but it is still far behind what the great civilizations possessed. You may have time yet. How much time? Tony Reed asked. The devourers are methodical. They consume civilizations in order of technological advancement and threat potential, but they are also thorough. Eventually, they will sweep through regions of space they previously ignored, consuming any remaining technological traces. Dr. Stone looked around the docking bay at the assembled humans. So our choice is to either remain primitive and hope they ignore us, or advance enough to fight them and risk becoming targets. There may be a third option, Veltar said quietly. In our research, we discovered references to ancient civilizations that found ways to hide from the devourers without abandoning technology. They developed methods of concealing their technological signatures, making their civilizations appear to be natural phenomena. Maya's eyes lit up. Like the modifications you made to your ship, but on a planetary scale. Exactly. But the knowledge was lost when those civilizations were eventually discovered and consumed. However, some information may still exist in the ruins of ancient worlds. Admiral Carter made her decision. Shard Singer Veltar, humanity offers you sanctuary in our system. In exchange, we need you to help us understand how to survive what's coming. Veltar's crystalline form brightened slightly. I accept your offer, Admiral Carter. Together, perhaps we can find a way to preserve something of galactic civilization from the coming darkness. Outside the docking bay, the stars continued to shine. But everyone in the room knew that fewer and fewer of those stars still hosted living civilizations. The devourers were coming, and humanity would have to choose between hiding and fighting or find a completely new way to survive. The distress signals started coming through the deep space monitoring stations at 0347 hours, Sol Standard Time. Admiral Chris Morgan was pulled from his sleep by the urgent call from the communications center on Luna Base. Admiral, this is Lieutenant Dawn Phillips in communications. We're receiving multiple emergency broadcasts from the Galactic Core region. The signals they're terrible, sir. Chris threw on his uniform and rushed to the command center. Around him, technicians were working frantically to clean up the signals coming through the jamming field that surrounded Sol's system. What they were hearing made everyone in the room go pale. Put it on speakers, Lieutenant. The voice that came through was mechanically distorted, but recognizably Zephyrian. This is High Counselor Vextai of the Galactic Council. Nexus Prime is under attack. The Devourers have breached our outer defenses. All fleets converge on... The signal dissolved into static and screams. Communications Officer Janet Lewis looked up from her station with tears in her eyes. Sir, that was broadcast on emergency frequencies to every system in the galaxy. It's a general call for help. Any responses? Chris asked. Negative, sir. Either no one received it, or no one is left to respond. Shard Singer Veltar entered the command center, moving slowly on crystalline legs that were still healing from the injuries sustained during escape. The alien had been working with human scientists for weeks, sharing knowledge about devourer technology and tactics. Admiral Morgan, Veltar said in the synthesized voice that came through their translators. The fall of Nexus Prime marks the end of organized galactic resistance. The Devourers have consumed the seat of galactic government. Chris stared at the communication displays showing the dying signals from across the galaxy. How long did the defense of Nexus Prime last? Based on the signal timestamps, approximately 6 hours. The station housed the most advanced defensive systems in the galaxy, protected by the combined fleets of 7 species. It should have been able to hold out for weeks. Dr. Ben Parker appeared on the main screen from his observatory on Titan. Admiral, I'm tracking massive energy discharges from the direction of the galactic core. Whatever happened at Nexus Prime, it was visible from here. Visible how? The energy release was so massive it created gravitational waves we can detect. The Devourers didn't just destroy Nexus Prime, they converted it into something else. Janet worked at her communication station, trying to clean up more signals. Sir, I'm getting fragments of other emergency broadcasts. It sounds like the Altarian. Federation tried to make a last stand at their home system. The signals cut off 3 hours ago. What about the other Council species? Veltar's crystalline form dimmed. The Vorthak Collective fell 2 days ago. I felt it through our species. Quantum connection network. Millions of voices, suddenly silent. The Nexalians retreated to their deep space fortresses, but those have gone dark as well. Chris walked to the main tactical display, which showed the galaxy as it had been just days before. Now, vast areas were marked in red, dead zones where no signals of any kind were being received. Lieutenant Phillips, patch me through to President Turner on Earth. President Turner's face appeared on the screen within minutes. He looked like he had aged years in the past few weeks. Admiral Morgan, I've been monitoring the situation. How bad is it? Mr. President, organized galactic civilization has effectively ceased to exist. The Galactic Council has fallen, and all major alien civilizations have either been destroyed or are no longer responding to communications. The President closed his eyes and took a deep breath. How long before they reach us? Veltar stepped forward. Mr. President, based on the Devourers' previous patterns, they will spend several months consolidating their gains and converting the technology they have captured. However, they are also thorough. They will eventually sweep through every system. That shows signs of technological development, including Sol system? Eventually, yes. Dr. Rachel Stone joined the conversation from the medical bay where she had been studying Devourer technology samples that Veltar had brought with him. Mr. President, there's something else you need to know. We've been analyzing the biological components of Devourer constructs. They're not just machines. They're a fusion of technology and living tissue. What does that mean for us? It means they can adapt and evolve. Each civilization they consume teaches them new techniques. By the time they reach us, they'll be far more advanced than when they started their current campaign. Captain Josh Williams appeared on the communication channel from his monitoring station at the edge of Sol system. Mr. President, Admiral, I've been tracking the Devourer fleets as they move through the galaxy. Their tactics are becoming more sophisticated with each conquest. How so? Early in their campaign, they relied on brute force attacks. But as they absorbed more advanced civilizations, they started using the captured technology against other targets. The attack on Nexus Prime used modified Vorthak crystal weapons and Zephyrian energy shields. Admiral Morgan felt a cold certainty settle in his stomach. They're learning from every species they destroy. Exactly. And sir, there's something else. The Devourer fleets are splitting up. The main force is continuing to attack major civilizations, but smaller groups are beginning to sweep through the outer rim systems. President Turner leaned forward. The systems where they might find hidden survivors? Yes, sir. They're being methodical about eliminating any remaining technological presence. Veltar's crystals pulsed with agitated light. This is consistent with historical patterns. The ancient records speak of a second phase of Devourer activity, where they seek out any remaining traces of technology to ensure complete conversion. Dr. Stone looked up from her data pad. Based on our analysis, we estimate that phase will begin within 6 months. Once they've finished with the major civilizations, they'll start systematic sweeps of every system that has ever shown signs of technological activity. Including systems that were recently evacuated, Chris asked. Especially those systems. The monitoring equipment the aliens left behind is still broadcasting, marking those worlds as places where technology once existed. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed the implications. The aliens had tried to save humanity by hiding them, but the very act of hiding had left breadcrumbs that would eventually lead the Devourers to Sol system. President Turner made his decision. Admiral Morgan, I'm authorizing the implementation of Project Haven. It's time to find out if we can disappear completely. Project Haven was humanity's most desperate contingency plan, an attempt to hide all of human civilization from any form of detection. It would mean shutting down most of their technology, moving critical facilities underground, and essentially making Earth appear to be a primitive world with no signs of advanced civilization. Sir, General Kate Sullivan's voice came through. From Earth, Project Haven will mean abandoning most of our space-based infrastructure. Our deep space monitoring, our satellites, our orbital facilities, all of it would have to be shut down or destroyed. The alternative is extinction, General. Veltar. Approach the main display. Mr. President, there may be another option. In the research data I brought with me, there are references to ancient stealth technologies that could hide technological signatures without abandoning technology entirely. What kind of stealth technologies? Quantum masking fields that make technological constructs appear to be natural phenomena. Energy dampeners that hide power signatures. Communication systems that mimic natural cosmic radiation. Admiral Morgan looked at the alien with new hope. Do you have the technical specifications for these systems? Some of them. But the research was incomplete when my station was destroyed. We would need to find additional information from ancient ruins or surviving data repositories. Where would we find those? Veltar's form brightened slightly. There are several dead worlds in this region of the galaxy that once hosted advanced civilizations. If any records survived, they would be there. President Turner stood up. Then we have our mission. We find these ancient technologies, we learn how to hide our entire civilization, and we survive long enough to fight back when we're ready. Fight back? Chris asked. Admiral, the Devourers have destroyed civilizations that were millions of years more advanced than us. But they've also shown us their weaknesses. They absorb technology, but they can be confused by primitive approaches. They learn from conquest, but they might not expect resistance from a species they think is already defeated. Veltar's crystals pulsed with what might have been approval. The ancient records speak of one civilization that found a way to fight the Devourers successfully. They did not try to match the Devourers' technology. They used approaches so primitive and unexpected that the Devourers could not adapt quickly enough. What happened to that civilization? They were eventually defeated, but they fought for centuries before falling, long enough to preserve knowledge for future generations. Admiral Morgan looked around the command center at the humans and the alien working together against impossible odds. Then that's our plan. We hide, we learn, and we prepare. When the Devourers finally come for us, they're going to find out that humanity doesn't give up easily. The transformation of human space had taken 8 months of desperate work. President Alex Turner stood in the underground command bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, watching displays that showed a solar system that barely resembled the one humanity had lived in just a year before. Final report, General Sullivan. Alex said to his military advisor. General Kate Sullivan consulted her tablet. Project Haven is complete, Mr. President. All orbital installations have been moved underground or disguised as natural phenomena. Our communication networks now mimic cosmic background radiation. Energy signatures from all human facilities have been reduced to levels that appear naturally occurring. What about our space-based defenses? Concealed within asteroid fields and disguised as mining operations. The Devourer's sensors should read them as abandoned industrial sites, not active military installations. Captain Jake Morrison entered the bunker, still wearing his diplomatic uniform, but now serving as coordinator of the hidden fleet. Mr. President, the prototype warship Terra's Wrath has completed its final tests. The new stealth technology is working perfectly. The Terra's Wrath was humanity's most advanced warship, built using a combination of human engineering and the ancient technologies that Shard Singer Veltar had helped them develop. Unlike the sleek alien vessels they had once admired, it was deliberately crude-looking, designed to appear like a converted mining ship rather than a military vessel. Dr. Amanda Foster appeared on one of the communication screens from her research facility on the dark side of the moon. Mr. President, we've made a breakthrough with the alien monitoring equipment. Engineer Maya Collins figured out how to reverse engineer the quantum masking technology. Maya Collins stepped into view beside Amanda. The ancient civilizations that the Devourers destroyed left us more than just hiding techniques, sir. They left us weapons. What kind of weapons? Maya activated a holographic display. Devices that can disrupt the biomechanical integration that makes Devourer constructs function. The aliens who built these weapons understood that you can't fight the Devourers with conventional technology. You have to use approaches they can't adapt to. Veltar joined the conversation from the research facility. The aliens' crystalline form had healed considerably over the past months, and working with humans seemed to have restored some of the brightness to its structure. The weapons work by introducing chaos into Devourer systems, Veltar explained. Instead of using precise energy patterns that can be analyzed and countered, they generate random interference that disrupts the integration between biological and mechanical components. Basically, Maya added, we're fighting advanced technology with controlled noise. General Sullivan looked up from her tactical displays. How effective are these weapons? In laboratory tests, they can disable individual Devourer constructs. Completely, Amanda replied, but we don't know how they'll perform against full-scale Devourer fleets. President Turner walked to the main display showing the current state of the galaxy. The red zones marking dead civilizations now covered more than 2/3 of known space. Any word from our deep space scouts about Devourer movements? Commander Helen Brooks answered from her communication station. Sir, Captain Nick Torres reported in from the outer system this morning. Devourer scout forces have been detected moving through the Proxima Centauri region. They're following the old trade routes, checking systems that were previously inhabited. How long before they reach us? Captain Torres estimates 2 weeks, sir. The bunker fell silent. After months of preparation, the moment they had all been dreading was finally approaching. Are we ready? Alex asked. Admiral Lisa Carter stepped forward from her position at the Fleet Coordination Station. As ready as we can be, Mr. President, Operation Phantom is prepared to activate the moment Devourer forces enter Sol system. Operation Phantom was humanity's ultimate deception plan. Every piece of human technology would be hidden or disguised. Earth would appear to be a primitive world with no signs of advanced civilization. The orbital facilities would look like natural phenomena or ancient ruins. Even human cities would be masked by holographic projections that made them appear to be natural geological formations. "What about our people?" Alex asked. "All non-essential personnel have been moved to underground facilities," General Sullivan reported. "Essential operations are being run from hidden bunkers like this one. To external sensors, Earth will appear to have a primitive population that hasn't yet developed spaceflight." Dr. Ben Parker's voice came through from his new observatory, hidden deep in an underground cavern on Mars. "Mr. President, I'm tracking the approach of what appears to be a Devourer reconnaissance fleet. 3 ships moving at sublight speed through the outer planets. Visual confirmation? Negative, sir. They're still too far out. But the energy signatures match what Veltar described for Devourer scout units," Captain Josh Williams reported from his concealed monitoring station in the asteroid belt. "Sir, I can confirm Dr. Parker's readings. The ships are definitely alien technology, but they're moving slowly and seem to be scanning each planet they pass." Veltar's crystalline form pulsed with nervous energy. "This is consistent with Devourer reconnaissance patterns. They are being thorough, looking for any signs of technology or recent habitation." "Will our concealment hold up to their scans?" Alex asked. "It should," Maya replied. "The quantum masking fields are based on technology that successfully hid civilizations from Devourers for centuries. But those civilizations were eventually found because they made mistakes," Veltar finished. "They became overconfident and allowed technological signatures to leak through their masking fields. We must be more careful." Admiral Carter activated the fleet communication system. "All units, this is Admiral Carter. Operation Phantom is now active. All systems to stealth mode. Maintain radio silence unless absolutely necessary." Around Sol system, the transformation was remarkable. Orbital stations powered down to minimal life support. Satellites repositioned themselves to look like space debris. The massive space elevators that connected Earth to orbit were disguised as natural, atmospheric phenomena. Even the moon bases were covered with holographic projections that made them appear to be natural crater formations. "Mr. President," Captain Morrison reported, "the hidden fleet is in position. 12 ships total, all disguised as derelict mining vessels or asteroid fragments. If the Devourers decide to investigate further, we'll be ready." Alex looked around the bunker at the faces of the people who represented humanity's best hope for survival. "Remember, everyone, we're not just hiding from the Devourers. We're preserving human civilization until we're strong enough to fight back." Dr. Parker's voice came through with new urgency. "Mr. President, the Devourer scouts have reached Jupiter. They're conducting detailed scans of the planet and its moons. Any reaction to our hidden installations?" "None so far, sir. The masking fields are holding." Commander Brooks monitored the communication frequencies. "Sir, I'm detecting transmissions between the scout ships. It's in a language I don't recognize, but the pattern suggests they're sharing scan data." Veltar moved closer to the communication station. "May I listen to the transmissions?" Brooks nodded and played the intercepted signals. Veltar's crystals flickered as the alien processed the sounds. "They are discussing the system's history," Veltar translated. "They have detected traces of previous technological activity, but they are classifying it as recently abandoned rather than currently inhabited." "Is that good or bad?" General Sullivan asked. "Good for now. It means our deception is working. They believe this system was evacuated and is no longer technologically active." Captain Torres's voice came through from his hidden position near Pluto. "Devourer scouts are moving past the outer planets toward Mars. Estimated time to Earth orbit, 6 hours." Alex felt his heart pounding. 6 hours until they would know if humanity's greatest deception would save them or condemn them. "All stations, maintain concealment protocols," Admiral Carter ordered. "Remember, we are a dead system. No energy signatures, no communications, no signs of current habitation." Dr. Foster's voice came through from the moon facility. "Mr. President, all research, operations have been suspended. We're running on minimum power and have activated the archaeological site hologram. To their sensors, this should look like ancient ruins that have been abandoned for thousands of years." "Excellent work, everyone," Alex said. "Now we wait and see if the beings who destroyed galactic civilization will pass us by." Outside the bunker, hidden cameras showed a seemingly primitive Earth under natural lighting. No orbital installations were visible. No energy signatures betrayed the presence of advanced technology. To any external observer, it would appear that humanity had never advanced beyond basic agriculture. But deep underground, in bunkers and hidden facilities around the world, millions of humans waited in silence, hoping that their species' greatest act of deception would allow them to survive long enough to become the galaxy's last hope for freedom. The Devourer fleet emerged from hyperspace like a nightmare made real. Admiral Lisa Carter watched from the hidden command bunker as dozens of massive ships materialized at the edge of Sol system. Each vessel was the size of a small moon, their hulls a twisted fusion of organic tissue and mechanical components that seemed to pulse with malevolent life. "Contact report," Carter called out. 47 ships detected," reported Captain Nick Torres from his concealed observation post near Pluto. They're beautiful and terrible at the same time. I can see the remains of other species' technology incorporated into their hulls." President Alex Turner stood beside Admiral Carter, watching the tactical display that showed the approaching fleet. After months of preparation, the moment of truth had arrived. Either humanity's deception would work, or they would join the countless species that had already been consumed. "All stations maintain radio silence," Carter ordered. "Operation Phantom remains in effect." In the hidden bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Ben Parker monitored the Devourer fleet's movements on his sensor array. "Mr. President, they're not approaching directly. They're taking a spiral path through the system, scanning everything carefully." Shard Singer Veltar stood beside the sensor station, their crystalline form dim with tension. "This is the methodical approach they used when consuming my homeworld. They are being thorough, looking for any sign of current technological activity." Captain Josh Williams reported from his position disguised as a disabled mining ship in the asteroid belt. "The lead. Ships are passing Jupiter now. I can see them launching smaller craft to investigate the gas giant's moons." "Any reaction to our hidden installations?" President Turner asked. "Negative, sir. The quantum masking is holding. They're reading our facilities as ancient ruins or natural phenomena." Commander Helen Brooks monitored the communication frequencies, listening to the strange harmonics that served as Devourer communication. "Sir, I'm detecting increased chatter between their ships. Veltar, can you translate?" Veltar listened to the alien sounds for several minutes before responding. "They are confused. They detect signatures of previous technological activity, but they cannot locate any current civilization. They are debating whether this system is worth a detailed investigation." General Kate Sullivan looked up from her tactical display. "Is that good or bad for us?" "Good, if they decide to move on." Bad if they decide to conduct a deep scan that might penetrate our masking fields. Captain Jake Morrison's voice came through from the hidden warship Terra's Wrath. Admiral, the main fleet is approaching Mars. I can see them deploying probe ships to investigate the surface. In the underground facility on Mars, Dr. Amanda Foster and engineer Maya Collins watched through concealed sensors as alien probe ships swept over the planet's surface. The probes passed directly over their hidden facility without detecting anything. Unusual. The ancient stealth technology is working, Maya whispered. They're reading us as a natural cave system. But on the main tactical display, the situation was becoming more dangerous. The Devourer fleet was slowing down as it approached the inner system, and more probe ships were being deployed. They're being more careful than usual, Veltar observed. Something has made them suspicious. Captain Torres provided the answer. Admiral, I'm reading massive energy discharges from the lead Devourer ship. They're conducting what looks like a historical scan of the entire system. What does that mean? President Turner asked. Veltar's crystals pulsed with alarm. They are analyzing the residual energy patterns from past technological activity. If they detect the quantum signatures of recent human technology, they'll know we're still here, Admiral Carter finished. The next few minutes passed in tense silence as the Devourer historical scan swept through Sol system. In hidden bunkers around Earth, millions of humans held their breath, waiting to learn if their species would survive. Admiral, Dr. Parker called out, the scan has reached Earth orbit. They're detecting the quantum signatures from our former orbital installations. On the tactical display, the Devourer fleet suddenly changed course, turning directly toward Earth. Their probe ships began moving in complex patterns, conducting detailed scans of the planet's surface. They know something is here, General Sullivan said grimly. Captain Williams activated his ship's stealth weapons systems. Admiral, request permission to break concealment and engage. Negative, Captain. Maintain position unless directly threatened. The probe ships swept over Earth's continents, their sensors penetrating deep into the planet's crust. In the hidden bunkers, humans watched and waited as alien technology searched for signs of their existence. Sir, Commander Brooks reported, I'm detecting a new type of transmission from the probe ships. They've found something. Veltar listened to the alien communications, and their crystals flashed bright red. They have detected the underground facilities. The quantum masking cannot hide everything from a direct scan of this intensity. How long before they pinpoint our locations? Carter asked. Minutes at most. President Turner made the decision that would define humanity's future. Admiral Carter, you are authorized to implement Operation Last Stand. All units break concealment and engage the enemy. Around Sol system, the transformation was immediate and dramatic. Hidden weapons platforms revealed themselves, shedding their disguises as asteroids and debris. Underground facilities powered up to full capacity, their energy signatures blazing like beacons across the sensor networks. The concealed fleet emerged from their hiding places, weapons charging and shields raising. The Terra's Wrath was the first to fire, its chaotic disruption weapons lancing out toward the nearest Devourer probe ship. The alien craft twisted in space as the random interference patterns tore through its biomechanical systems, causing critical failures throughout its structure. Direct hit, Captain Morrison reported. The probe ship is dead in space. But the victory was short-lived. The main Devourer fleet responded immediately, launching thousands of smaller attack craft toward Earth. These ships were sleek and deadly, incorporating technology stolen from dozens of consumed civilizations. Admiral Carter coordinated the defense from her underground command center. All defense platforms, target the incoming attack craft. Hidden fleet, engage the main Devourer vessels. Remember, use chaotic firing patterns. Don't let them adapt to our tactics. The battle that followed was unlike anything in recorded history. Human ships, deliberately crude and unpredictable in their design, faced off against the most advanced vessels in the galaxy. The Devourers had absorbed the military knowledge of countless species, but they had never encountered opponents who fought with controlled chaos. Captain Torres, commanding a disguised cargo ship that had been converted into a weapons platform, reported his success. "I'm using mining charges instead of conventional missiles. The Devourers can't predict the explosive patterns." Engineer Maya Collins, monitoring the battle from her facility on the moon, provided crucial intelligence. "The disruption weapons are working. Every time we hit a Devourer ship with chaotic energy patterns, their adaptive systems malfunction. But the Devourers were learning quickly. After the initial surprise, they began to modify their tactics, using brute force attacks that didn't require adaptation to human weapons. "Admiral," Captain Williams called out, "they're changing strategy. Instead of trying to counter our weapons, they're just overwhelming us with numbers." The tide of battle was turning against humanity. For every Devourer ship destroyed, 3 more took its place. The alien fleet seemed inexhaustible, drawing on resources from consumed civilizations across the galaxy. Then Veltar made a crucial observation. Admiral Carter, the Devourer command ship, the largest vessel in their fleet. It is coordinating all their adaptive responses. If we could disable it, the whole fleet would lose coordination, Carter realized. "Captain Morrison, take the Terra's Wrath and target the command ship. All other units provide cover." The final assault was desperate and brilliant. Captain Morrison piloted the Terra's Wrath through the Devourer fleet, using every trick of human ingenuity to avoid the alien weapons. When conventional tactics failed, he rammed smaller Devourer ships, using the crude construction of his vessel as a weapon. "I'm through their perimeter," Morrison reported. "Beginning attack run on the command ship." The Terra's Wrath unleashed everything it had at the massive Devourer command vessel. Chaotic disruption weapons, mining charges, even simple kinetic projectiles. Anything that might confuse the alien ship's adaptive systems. The command ship's biomechanical hull began to convulse as random interference patterns disrupted the integration between its organic and mechanical components. For the first time in the battle, a major Devourer vessel was in serious trouble. "Keep firing!" Carter ordered. "Don't give them time to adapt." The command ship's destruction was spectacular. As its biomechanical systems collapsed, the vessel tore itself apart from the inside. The explosion sent shock waves through the entire Devourer fleet. Without coordination from their command ship, the remaining Devourer vessels began to malfunction. Their adaptive systems, designed to work in perfect harmony, started interfering with each other. Ships collided as their navigation systems received conflicting signals. Captain Torres, watching from his position in the asteroid belt, reported war.